confabulation. Okay, so I hear we're recording. Okay, so how are you?
I'm fine. Thanks a lot for having me, and I'm really glad to be here.
Excellent. So how was um how was your whole quarantine experience this past year? Like, and how are you doing post everything?
There are many layers actually to that question in terms of answering it and tackling the whole topic. I mean, of course, it has a legal component, it has a medical component, it has an economic component, it has a psychological component. By and large, from my short life, if you want, from my experience, I have learned from the mystics that we have to take it day by day. And basically, our world is also in our heart. Not to deny that it has not taken a toll on us or on people, especially the kids who could not or cannot understand the intricacies of this new world, if you want. But, and of course, being bombarded by media in this whole scary movie, if you want. But basically, I see it as a kind of meditation in the sense that we take some time off to sort of ponder and think and self reflect. And I mean, I live in Virginia, so basically, we're not really like in your typical urban New York, Manhattan, type of scenario. So here we are surrounded by deer and bear. So basically, we still meet sort of our neighbors with like the distancing, the social distancing required. We can go for a walk. I mean, we can bike. School is here, so in that sense, you have not seen much of a change. You put your mask on, you go to the supermarket, you come, I mean, so you work online. So life in that sense has not been tremendously, altered, except that for the kids, that's what's a little bit, they cannot understand it, they get fussy. So it's a dynamic that one has to be accustomed to. But even despite the vaccine, people who think that we are going to go back to what they call normalcy, this is a naive. We are witnessing a change of like modes of production before. We went from the early agricultural mode to proletarian, like sort of fabric, factories mode to the digital economy. So basically, we are witnessing a change in the economy, in the sociology, in the politics. And of course, politicians do what politicians do, which is basically try to ride the wave and try to scare people. I mean, that's why if you try to implement, I mean, the model for objective journalism is the BBC. So if you try to apply a BBC model of journalism to our news media channels across all boards and how they covered COVID, you'll see that that's not really, because if I am an independent journalist, I'll show people that die from COVID, but I also show people who got COVID and nothing happened to them because I don't have an agenda. I don't have like a spin or, like, so, and why suddenly now we are just hearing these, like scary, there is a scary component. That's why if you watch a lot the news, it kind of gets to you. Having worked myself in as a news writer in Voice of America, where we had to do news by the second, I then, from then on, when I left that job, sort of, I just don't watch the news. If I am more of an academic in the sense that if I am interested in a topic, then I'll be immersed post-event. I don't want to be caught in the wheel. Post-event, then I'll go and hear CNN and BBC and ABC and NBC and Fox News, and that's fine. There's no, people simply are in silos. They want only to hear what comforts them or what they already agree with. That's not eye-opening. So yeah, in that sense, I mean, you gotta take your precautions, even with the shot.
Mm.
You gotta really. I took my first dose of shot. I was a bit reluctant for many reasons. Not, first because I like when I was a kid, I used to get sick a lot. So I have this phobia from doctors and hospitals, although my mom was a doctor. But I have this phobia. So in that sense, I try to minimize this exposure. Second, in terms of vaccines, to do due diligence in normal circumstances, any vaccine or procedure, in order to be approved, it has to go through like 5-year kind of step or 3 years. This one was a bit of, there was an expediency because of the circumstance. I'm not saying I'm not an expert, so I'm not emitting an opinion on that, but just on my end, I don't want 5 years. And again, I'm not doing that argument that the government is putting microchips on us. I mean, I like aliens, and so it doesn't really bother me even if there's a chip. But no, not from that standpoint, but more from the standpoint at 5 years from now, we will hear TV ads. If you had taken the vaccine, Moderna vaccine or Johnson, and you are running blind or you cannot walk, you can sue Pfizer. I don't want to sue anybody. I just say that. But anyway, that being said, I was pushed by my family to do it, so I did the first dose. I'm waiting for the second one. But even with that, it doesn't mean that. I mean, it will be different. We cannot go back to normalcy. So that's to answer a bit your question about COVID. We take it day by day.
Which vaccine did you get?
Not Pfizer. A friend of mine said that's the royalty of vaccine, but just it happened to be here. So I didn't choose it. It's just.
That just happened to be available to you?
Well, now they opened it to everybody. So yeah, now I mean here. I mean, I'm sure also where you are. I mean, now that's it. It's just basically whenever you are ready and it's available, then you go for it. And of course, you have to wait for your turn.
Have you had any symptoms at all?
I had a sore arm, but I'm a typical bad patient because when they take my blood, I faint if I'm not like rain. So I'm not. I'm a hypochondriac in that sense. So, but yeah, I had a sore arm. That was for the first. The second one, we will see. They say it's even worse. But the first one, not that day, but the second day, I had a sore arm. Nothing major, but just sore arm. And I didn't want to take any, but I had a sore arm. And that's it. Nothing. No fever, nothing.
All right. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. We've done it. So, I mean, we'll see. If 4 years from now we can't walk, too late. We can sue them, class action,
So let me ask you, did things turn out the way that you thought that they would?
In what sense?
I guess politically, economically, even socially, now that we're on the brink of a new era.
What do you mean by a new era?
Well, just kind of agreeing with what you've said in terms of, we're never really going to be the same. Seemingly, we don't know how, we don't know to what extent, but we know that India does have a second wave right now, and the vaccine is not really doing well with the second wave, and so we have some serious concerns ahead of us.
I think we like, if there is anything mystically that we need to know or learn from what we have been facing from these trying times, is that this illusion that we control things is something that we really need to unlearn. We do not control anything. Not to say that we should not embark on an intelligent scientific study of the future, some prospective planning, future studies, with their scenarios, and but there's always an element of uncertainty. I mean, it's even a field, economics, of uncertainty. So, and even like now, these scientific fields of chaos theory, complexity theory, string theory. So the more complex they have become, the paradigms, or the more complex they become, the more nuanced our reading should be of these situations and scenarios. So if there's anything we should learn is that we should let go of the illusion of control. In that sense, when we expect something, what happens is always more than our expectations, for the good or for the bad, but it's always more than our expectations. So, and again, the basic reaction now, if you do sort of a meta-analysis of what's going on with COVID and with other things that are sort of effects of this pandemic, is that nobody knows. Because you keep, like, you're bombarded with experts, but there are people who got COVID once and they got it twice and nothing happened to them. Other people died. People got vaccine and got COVID again. They tell you because, yeah, it's not 100%, it's only 95%. I mean, we enter into the statistics. But the hard core of it is that nobody knows. See, and this idea of absence of knowledge or zero knowledge or, like blurry knowledge is something that we have to sort of learn to deal with. This idea that we control everything and everything is in a controlled environment. And no, I mean, it's this precisely these waves and there are parts of the world, actually, in many countries, rural parts, where people continue living like they do, and then as if this corona doesn't exist, and I'm not saying that it's a hoax or no, I'm just saying that nobody knows really. Like, the good thing about the Biden plan is allocating money for studying the phenomenon, doing some statistics and database, because we learn as we go. The more people are vaccinated or more people get sick or more we are encountering the phenomenon, the more we are kind of making sense of it. Not only in one way, because if you have only like one eye, we don't need to be one-eyed, in that regard. But we need to sort of see the phenomenon from different angles. But bottom line is, nobody knows. When I say knows, it's not like the ability to come and lecture us on what COVID is and how it attacks the body or what pandemics are and dress in parallels with pandemics we had before. Spanish flu, it's not really very Spanish, but we happen to name it like that. So not in that sense, but who gets it? Why? Is it by blood type? Is it, is it across cultures? Is it across ages? Is it across, we do not really know, is it like I mean, it's like with cholesterol. I mean, I don't really like the cholesterol medicine for the reason that Mediterranean people have, if they have bad cholesterol, they also have high good cholesterol because they eat olive oil and they, you cannot compare them to an Asian American or to an African American or to a native or to European so basically, to a Northern European, because Mediterranean people, their diet is in a way that the problem with the cholesterol medication is that it attacks both the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol. So we cannot claim that facing COVID, we will have a global policy, because that's not. I mean, COVID doesn't hit. I know that there are dead people all over the world, but it doesn't. If again we do a micro anthropological study of that, you'll find that there are, rural islands where people continue their local markets and shoulder to shoulder, and nothing happened. Not to say that we should do it, but that probably can help us understand the resentment from a part of the US population towards the vaccine. I mean, we should not just sort of simply brush it off and say, oh, these people are just like, they don't want to take the vaccine. No, we need to understand where this resentment is coming from. Category doesn't really believe in the government, doesn't trust the government. And I do believe that in democracies, it is healthy actually not to trust governments, because precisely that's what democracies are. We do not want to fall into the sheep and flock mentality. Other people are into these conspiracy theories, but many theories that we know are conspiracies anyway. I mean, the two extreme reactions towards conspiracy theories is, on one hand, those people that reject conspiracy theories because they are conspiracy